How you guys doing? My name is Javier. I'm a business transformation and process improvement leader. I've been doing this for over 25 years. I've been leading these type of initiatives for anywhere from small to corporate size organizations. And one of the things that I'm always asked when we go in and we execute on a process improvement is how can I do this on my own? How can I lead a business transformation with my team? So what I'm going to be doing over the next few videos is actually putting out a series on how leaders can execute business process improvement on their own or with the help of a facilitator. And so I'll be talking a little bit about some really cool tools that you can use as a leader to help drive effective process improvement or business transformation. And today we're going to talk about one particular methodology called TOSCA. It's an acronym for troubles, owners, solutions, constraints, and actions. And the focus of TOSCA is to align a group of individuals, normally a team, on what their troubles are that's affecting the service or the business or the capability that they're leading or that they're responsible for. And in my experience, one of the biggest things that I have seen consistently in almost every change initiative, every transformation or every process improvement is that there's a disconnect from leaders to operational staff on what problems are. And what that does, it creates a sense of, it creates a unfocused group on how and what's going to be solved. So today, this task is all about aligning the organization and what the troubles are and how go about actually resolving that trouble through this methodology. So TOSCA, when you think about what you're trying to accomplish, the goal is to actually take the team away from their day-to-day environment and put them in an environment where they can collaborate and think and brainstorm on what all the issues are. So the goal before you even start getting into TOSCA is to think about how much time your team can dedicate to a focus session. And if you think about it, if you allow your team just 1% of dedicated time to addressing a business problem, that's under 20 hours per year, if you think about it. And you can get a significant amount of value by investing just that amount of time from each of your team members to solving and understanding like what their challenges are and then creating a plan around that. So let's get to it. Let's kind of walk you through on how you can actually apply Tosca on your own. So the first thing is make sure that whoever's facilitating the session is that they're going to be extremely objective about the approach. You want to make sure that you strip away your egos, strip away team members, titles, and the goal there is to make sure that everyone has an equal voice. That's a very, very important ground rule. So once you get to that point, you're going to have the team members think about the first portion of the workshop, which is troubles. You need to have the team members identify in a very safe environment, like what they believe are all the troubles that are contributing to that service issue, that business issue. So it could be uh, our business turnaround on delivering service A is 50% slower than we need it to be. That's the type of thing that you want the team members to, kind of identify. Like, what are all those troubles? And then once the entire team has identified what their identified problems are, you need to prioritize that list down to what you guys believe as a group is the most important thing causing that problem. Again, all of these things can be contributing to your problem, but you need to prioritize like what do we believe is the most critical element affecting that. So that's the first step, is all about aligning on the problem. The next step is once you have your finite list of problems, hopefully you have one, two, or three, no more than that. The next thing you want to do is assign owners to those problems. You do that early on because what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have someone who could take the team through the process of making sure that they understand that, hey, this is the individual that you bring things up to when you have a question where you need further clarity, or when someone has an idea on how to solve that, you want the team to go to one person. Accountability. That's the big thing. When you assign something to a team, there is squishy responsibility, for the lack of a better word. There is there's this whole issue of like, well, I think that person has it, or I think that person has it. So you want to avoid that. So in that second step of the TOSCA methodology, the O, you want to make sure that you identify the owner and be very clear about who that person is. Again, that person is not owning the execution of it. They're just making sure that they're accountable for making sure that thing happens and that they work with their team to get that done. The third step is solutioning. Now, a lot of teams love to jump into solution right away because everybody has ideas. And what you need to do as a facilitator is that you need to make sure that you work with the team to help them understand, first of all, that you need to go through root cause analysis. And root cause analysis is what you need to do to make sure that you're not addressing the symptoms of a problem, but you're actually addressing the underlying issue that's really causing all these symptoms. So an example might be I have a headache. I've been coughing. I have, whatever the case may be, those could be symptoms of a much bigger problem that could be something such as I have pneumonia. I have the flu. So what you need to do is get away from that top symptom level thing and get down to like the root causes. And again, it could get to a point where these root causes are very, very big, very meaty things. So you need to figure out what you as a team can actually address within a root cause. So once you have your root causes, and you've applied different methodologies such as like 5Y, fishbone, non-value analysis to kind of figure out like what you need to tackle, now you can think about identifying what your solutions are. Once you have your solutions and you have your team members, think about what are all the opportunities that they can execute on to solve these root causes. You need to make sure that you affinitize those to common items and then prioritize that down to what you believe is going to, one, address the root causes, and then you need to make sure that if you solve this root cause, that it's also going to fix the problem. Doesn't mean that's going to eliminate it, but that you actually make an impact on that problem. So that's what you need to focus on. And you need to make sure that you can put that string through all the way back, all the way through the problem, through all those little needle holes. Be very, very mindful of the fact that sometimes people get lost and they lose focus of the problem, which is why alignment on the problem is the first step that everyone needs to be super clear on. So that's the third step. The fourth step is something that people always ask, well, why don't I do this before doing solutioning, which is constraints? You need to make sure you identify your constraints after you do your solution. And because what you don't want to do is limit your team to their creativity and innovative thinking. You want to make sure that you give your team the opportunity to think, openly and identify what all those opportunities are. Once they have those constraints identified, that could be anything from like budget, maybe you don't have the right skill set, maybe you don't have the right technology. You can then start thinking about, do I have a mitigation to those issues? Can I ask for more budget? Can I upskill my team? Can I go farm out that capability? So those are the things that you want to think about. And again, constraints should happen after identifying your solutions. That way you don't limit the team. And then lastly, it's action planning. What I tell team members is when they get to this last step in the TOSCA methodology, the A, you want to make sure that you think about what your short-term solutions are. What your short-term action plans are for your solutions. Sorry, I misspoke there. And the reason that we think about short-term, 1 to 2 months, is that you want to make sure that your team can start making progress. If you think about the end-to-end delivery plan, that might be a 6-month, 7-month plan. Your team might struggle to actually feel that they're contributing to actually solving the problem. So think about what those quick wins can be. Think about what is just going to get your team moving. The hardest thing, as in kind of prepping for like a marathon, is taking that first step. So that's kind of what you want to do with your team. Help them take that first step towards action. So that's the TOSCA methodology at a very high level. Again, the biggest thing that you want to think about is being objective through the process and allowing the team members to be very open about it. Second thing is you need to make sure that you allow your team members to focus. And when I talk about focus is, think think about taking your team out of their environment, giving them an opportunity to spend, 5, 6 hours to collaborate in an undisturbed environment where they can think through these issues. And then what you'll see is that when you do this, there's a significant amount of value that's identified. If you think that you as a leader or having someone within the team facilitate this session is a little bit too difficult, think about how you can actually farm this out to a facilitator. If you have questions on how to do this, feel free to reach out. If you've done this and it's been successful, comment. If not, feel free to reach out. I can help you out. And good luck on your TOSCA methodology approach and execution. And I'll be putting a worksheet at the end of this video so that you can go execute it yourself. Good luck and look forward to hearing from you.